Welcome to 5 and 5 from the One Stop Co-op Shop, where I discuss 5 key elements of a game in about 5 minutes. I'm Michael Kelly, and today I'm looking at Burncycle, the latest from Chip Theory Games. And a disclaimer that I was sent a review copy of this one. I don't think it's much of a secret that I tend to enjoy a lot of what Chip Theory puts out, with both Too Many Bones and Cloudspire being among my favorite games. But is Burncycle up to that level of excellence? Let's find out and get to the list. So first, at the number 5 spot, I'm going to look at the corporations, the sort of villains in the game, and the missions you have to achieve to win. And I'm going to call this one a bit of a mix. I appreciate that for the 3 corporations in the base game, they all feel different and have different specializations, and then you can add in these captains to add even more variety to how they kind of play out. And the missions are also mostly good and mostly varied, but this is kind of where the mix comes in. They have 8 missions for corporation, which I think is a great number, but a decent number of them, at least the ones I've played, have felt not exactly solvable, because there is enough randomization from play to play that you can try it out again and see different things happen. But many of them have what I think are fairly clear strategic paths to follow, so I'm not sure there's a ton of replay for all of them, although again, with 24 of them, it's a good deal. But I'm going up to a pro for number 4. This time I'm focusing on the bots and their uniqueness and the teams you can build. So first of all, value-wise, I appreciate the amount and variety of bots in the base game. There are 10 of them, and not only can you use them as full-fledged players called agents, but each of them has an opposite side that shows a command module with an ongoing ability and different stats for them. And these robots are different in pretty significant ways, with different starting powers and different upgradable powers and different kind of stat lines for the types of dice they can use. But the one caution I'll give for this pro, it's a little bit like Too Many Bones. Unless you play the 2 or 3 floor missions where the game goes a little bit longer, I don't feel like you necessarily get to explore the fullness of your characters, and sometimes just buying basic dice is better than buying your unique upgrades, which can be a little bit of a bummer in shorter games. And that transitions nicely into my number 3, which is a full-on con, but it's number 3, so it's not ruining the game for me, and that's the length of the game and the pacing. And this really goes exactly with what I just mentioned, in that you play games that are 1, 2, or 3 floors, and for the 1-floor missions, they are fun. I definitely enjoy them. My newest playthrough is a 1-floor mission, but it feels like you don't get to really experience everything. You don't have to go up a level, which kind of has a lot of strategic implications that aren't present in a 1-floor play. But when you get into those 2-floor and especially 3-floor plays, and especially with 2 or 3 or 4 players at higher player counts, man, the game can get really long. I mean, you're looking, especially when you're learning, at 3 or 4 hour playtimes for 3 floors, and that's with setting them up and tearing them down. Don't get me wrong, the organization system for the game is great, but yeah, you need to be ready for a long haul for this one if you want the full experience, and if you go for the short game, you might not feel like you got everything out of it you might like. But I'm going to end with some big pros. First, at number 2, looking at the core action system in the game. And there's kind of 2 or kind of 3 sides to this that I really enjoy. So first of all, you've got the Burncycle, these chips, and they're sort of getting taken down turn after turn. And you need to put in specific chips, but then they boost certain actions of your characters. And they also affect the network play, where you're moving these pegs around. So you really get some yummy decisions in where you put these chips and what boosts you give you and your team. But then the other side of the action system are the action dice. And fair warning, there's a bit of randomness here, but not that much. The dice are fairly leveled and predictable, and even the blank results aren't that terrible in that you either get them back or can use them less efficiently. But yeah, these dice are right up my alley. I love resource management, and this is a really cool system, allocating the dice to the different actions throughout the turn, going for that Hail Mary pass, or just totally blowing out a die roll you need to succeed at. I think it's a really great and consistently interesting, exciting action system overall. And a 1-2 pro punch, because my number 1 is the stealth system. Love this. I will say it here. I've already said it on social media. Burncycle has my favorite stealth system in a board game. And I'm not saying I've played 1,000 of them. I've probably played, 10 board games with stealth, solo and co-op. But this is the best one I've seen. And the big things going for this stealth system are that it's simple and clean and straightforward. The guards have kind of set patrol routes. And if they see you, then you leave your chip behind where they last saw you. And they basically move there until they get to it. It works really smoothly once you get all the rules down. But what I love are all the tricks you can pull. You can get guards to go into a room and then slip out another entrance while they just kind of mosey around there looking for you. You can use terminal and network tricks to send a noise over to another part of the building entirely and get a guard out of a key position. Just so many clever and cool and thematic things you can do. I just love this system. So overall, you might want to check out Burncycle if you like stealth games, if you like tactical movement games with tough enough resource management if you like building a team of diverse characters and using their specializations to help you win. But on the other hand, you might want to avoid this if you don't want to go in for a big, expensive game. I mean, the production is beautiful. I'm not saying the game isn't worth it, but it definitely costs a lot. And also, you might want to avoid this one if you aren't looking for a long game, especially for higher player counts. For solo, it's always pretty quick, but yeah, for like 3 or 4 players, you might be there for a while, so just be ready for that. And we have a bunch of plays on the channel if you want to see the game in action, including a new solo 1 floor play I just put up. Click the link to check that out. Good gaming, everyone, and I'll see you at the next stop.